world of finance as we know it has just been shaken by a seismic change that will go down in the annals of economic history. Over the course of several decades, the SWIFT system has been the foundation around which international payments are built, connecting hundreds of financial institutions all across the world over a network that is both safe and antiquated. For the time being, however, that network is now being disassembled. A new giant is gradually taking its position in the world. It's XRP. It is true that XRP, the digital asset that was developed specifically for international transactions, is not only going live as the default option for international payments, but it is also aggressively replacing SWIFT. In addition, the changeover starts at precisely 3 o'clock in the morning UTC. It is only a matter of hours until a worldwide financial shift takes place. There is no room for conjecture or excitement in this. There has been a leak of a secret note that originated from within the SWIFT organization, and the contents of the memo are astounding. The document provides an overview of a planned and coordinated migration of global financial systems to the XRP ledger by the end of the third quarter. The note is written in a manner that is straightforward, unambiguous, and urgent. Now is the time for banks to get ready or risk falling behind. Experimentation or a gradual rollout are not the tone that is being used here. You are required to make this change, and the repercussions of this change are quite significant. This is not only a shift in technology, rather it is a comprehensive overhaul of the ways in which money is transferred, institutions interact with one another, and value is sent across international borders. Why do you use XRP? Why at this time? Let's investigate the circumstances that contributed to this significant change in the situation. There is just no way that outdated systems like a SWIFT can compete with the speed, scalability, and efficiency that XRP provides. Processing a transaction using SWIFT might take many days. XRP uses a settlement time of 3 to 5 seconds for transactions. The disparity in affordability is just as striking. Depending on the intermediaries and institutions that are involved, the cost of sending money using SWIFT can be anywhere from $50 to $50 per transaction. Is it XRP? This is a fraction of a cent. Additionally, it is not only a matter of speed or cost. In addition to this, it depends on dependability, transparency, and the capacity to operate around the clock. And in several jurisdictions and time zones, it is precisely this sort of infrastructure that is necessary for modern economies. This change is not taking place in a void-like environment. The Bank for International Settlements, which is sometimes referred to as the central bank of central banks, has announced the publication of a comprehensive research that provides support for the use of XRP as a major settlement layer for central bank digital currencies, also known as CBCs. According to the findings of this analysis, XRP is ideally equipped to perform the function of a neutral global bridge asset across various sovereign currencies. This would make it possible for nations to keep their own digital versions of fiat currency while simultaneously guaranteeing that liquidity is not disrupted across borders. As a result, there is no longer a requirement for costly foreign exchange reserves. The risk to the system is reduced and quick international clearance is encouraged. Indeed, central banks in Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas have been discreetly implementing pilot programs that incorporate XRP for wholesale CBDC settlements. These programs have been being carried out in the background. Depending on the geopolitical sensitivity of the situation, some of these activities are open to the public, while others are kept private. Nevertheless, the path forward is very obvious. There is a growing global agreement regarding the necessity of modernizing the financial plumbing of the globe, and XRP has shown itself to be the most effective instrument for the task at hand. An even more unexpected aspect is the rapidity with which institutions are adjusting to new circumstances. We are witnessing a rush in the purchasing of XRP from large banks, hedge funds, and sovereign wealth funds that has never reached this level before. According to the findings of data experts, the rate at which XRP is being acquired is greater than $100 million per minute. The action in question is not retail. This is a significant amount of institutional accumulation in preparation for what may be the most significant financial reorganization in the history of the previous century. These entities are coordinating their actions. Take a time to talk about the possible repercussions that this may have on the pricing. After years of speculation, a great number of individuals have hypothesized that the value of XRP may reach double or even triple digits. Nevertheless, for the very first time, there is a basic basis for such forecasts presently available. Take into consideration the fact that it is estimated that the entire notional value of the global derivatives market is greater than $1.2 quadrillion. It is not out of the question that the price of XRP might hit $1,000 if it were to grab even a small fraction of that market as a settlement layer. The most cautious models position it far higher than the present levels. This tale is not a pump and dump type of story. There is value here that is supported by utility, demand, and integration into the system. Nevertheless, there are many who are skeptical about the possibility of replacing SWIFT, which is a system that is so firmly ingrained. When it comes down to it, the solution may be found in the development of technology. The Swift programming language was developed in the 1970s, and despite the fact that it has been upgraded over the years, it is still considered to be a patchwork system. It is dependent on intermediates and requires a great deal of manual intervention. Infrastructure that is both real-time and seamless is very necessary in today's modern financial environment. It is already being used by companies such as Ripple to settle remittances between countries such as Mexico and the Philippines, and it is being tested for interbank settlements in places such as Japan, the United Arab Emirates, and all throughout Latin America. XRP is a cryptocurrency that satisfies these requirements. It is also quick, inexpensive, and scalable. The consensus method that XRP utilizes is yet another important facet of its strength. In contrast to proof-of-work systems like Bitcoin and proof-of-stake systems like Ethereum, XRP is based on a one-of-a-kind consensus mechanism that does not need mining or staking in any way. This enables great throughput while consuming a minimal amount of energy, which is, in all honesty, becoming an increasingly significant factor in a society that is more concerned with sustainability and technology that is environmentally responsible. In addition, this indicates that XRP is capable of processing thousands of transactions per second with a near instantaneous finality. As we get closer to the deadline of 3 o'clock in the morning UTC, financial institutions all around the world are working with great urgency to complete their integrations. Teams are being instructed by internal memoranda from large global banks to speed up the process of connecting their XRP nodes, complete the integration of testnets, and be ready to move to live volume for the cryptocurrency. While this is going on, governments are issuing advice to ensure that their systems for controlling currency and preventing money laundering are able to absorb the new influx of financial data. Not only is this a crypto event, but it is also a geopolitical development. This transition has the potential to be extremely beneficial to the regions that are considered to be part of the Global South, which includes sections of Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Africa. Over the course of several decades, these regions have been denied access to effective financial railways due to factors such as high costs, lengthy delays, and a lack of access to correspondent banking. Their economic progress has been restricted. Through the elimination of intermediaries and the facilitation of direct settlements, XRP makes global finance more accessible to the general public. When we suggest that this change has the potential to pull millions of people out of the financial void, we are not exaggerating. Let's go on to discussing the various dangers and worries that may arise. The transition from Swift to XRP is not without its shares of difficulties, just like any other significant technology revamp. Despite the fact that the XRP ledger does not require authorization, there are worries over the centralization of the network. Concerns have been raised over the capacity to reverse fraudulent transactions, as well as regulatory monitoring and tax compliance. The implementation of Know Your Customer, anti-money laundering, and other compliance measures at the interface layer is a significant effort being made by institutions to address these problems. In addition, there are concerns over the volatility of prices during the initial stages of institutional adoption. On the other hand, the price ought to remain stable as the volume and utility remain stable. The public's knowledge is another obstacle to overcome. It is possible that the typical individual is still unaware of what is taking on, despite the fact that institutional players are acting swiftly. As a result, this opens up a brief window of opportunity for ordinary investors and business owners to position themselves inside a developing financial system that will soon become the norm. This is where education will be of critical importance. When individuals have a better understanding of how the XRP ledger operates, they will have a greater sense of confidence in their ability to engage in the ecosystem, whether it be via the form of development, investment, or enterprise usage. Furthermore, we need to take into consideration the function of tokenization and smart contracts. The distributed ledger of XRP now has the capability to enable smart contracts by means of federated sidechains and innovations such as books.